Good morning. This is going to be part two of the Lunar Month for countries and people, covering from October 2nd through November 1st. And in this presentation, I'll talk about Putin, Russia, Ukraine, and let's see, King Charles, Kate Middleton, Princess Kate, that is, the United Kingdom, and also Pope Francis. So let's see if I can share my screen and we'll get started. This will take just a minute to get going. I have to hide some panels so that I can see what I'm doing. Almost there. And we're ready. The Lunar Month for Countries and People, Part 2. Putin, Russia, Ukraine, King Charles, Kate Middleton, United Kingdom, and Pope Francis, October 7th through November 1st. First off, for Putin, it looks like a fairly good month. He has a lot more lifelines, a lot more good aspects over here than he does hard aspects. He does have Transient Chiron still in opposition to natal Neptune. So in his case, this is not bringing about spiritual enlightenment, apparently, but rather it seems like he will continue to be wounded and to wound others. And with Neptune making a sesquiquadrate to his natal Venus, uh, delusional thinking on his part will probably persist. So he's probably going to try and stay the course with a lot of his actions and things that he's been doing. Transient Chiron, however, will make a trine to the midheaven, and that is going to help heal his status and power within Russia. Jupiter, transiting Jupiter, is making a trine to natal Jupiter. That will also work to his benefit and magnify his personal charisma and magnetism. And transiting Jupiter is making a sextile to the natal midheaven. So this will also magnify and increase the status and power in Russian society. And then we have both transiting Chiron and transiting Jupiter making beneficial aspects to the north node down here and the south node. So Putin is going to get a lot of healing from Chiron this year. And the good aspects from Jupiter are going to make it easier for Putin to expand his plans and expand his power within Russia. A very wild card event that I don't see as being likely would be an assassination, wounding as a result of transiting Chiron in opposition to his Neptune. Assassination would be probably the least likely outcome, but there is an outcome of possibility of illness since Chiron is in the sixth house. This is on the sixth, 12th house axis, so illness is a possibility. We'll keep an eye out on that. The thing we could say with the most certainty, though, is that he might uh, be wounded in some sort of personal way and that he will continue to wound others. Most likely via the war in Ukraine. But overall, things look pretty good for him. And a lot of these good aspects are going to become exact in October. The opposition of transiting Chiron to natal Neptune, that is going to be exact on October 15th. Now, if we look at Russia, things will probably not be quite so good for the average Russian. Transiting Pluto is making a sesquiquadrate to natal Jupiter, which is in the third house, which has to do with communication. So there will probably be more oppressions on speech in Russia and on people who oppose Putin and his government. Transiting Saturn will be in opposition to natal Jupiter. So that is just reiterating uh, the message of Pluto's sesquiquadrate Jupiter. The powers that be will probably be putting restrictions upon communication. And that is further emphasized by transing Jupiter making a sesquiquadrate with natal Saturn. There's going to be a tension here between the drive for growth, expansion, and the drive to control and regulate. And things that people personally want to do that will probably experience some restriction on the part of the government. They will probably shut things down. On the good side, transing Saturn is making a sextile to natal Uranus, so there may be some good and surprising developments when it comes to things like infrastructure and the workforce in Russia. Okay, now here we can see when things become exact that Pluto's sesquiquadrate natal Jupiter, that is strong throughout all of October and November, even though it doesn't become exact in either month. Uh, Saturn sextile Uranus, that is also strong throughout most of October and November. It becomes exact on October 19th. So there may be some rebuilding going on, some renewal of infrastructure that's beneficial. Jupiter sesquiquadrate Saturn, that kicks in during the latter part of the month, become exact on November 4th, right before the presidential election. Now, if we take a look at Ukraine, it's got some tensions. It's got some lifelines going on here. A lot of these tensions involve Uranus. So definitely expect the unexpected in Ukraine this month. Transing Neptune is going to be sesquiquadrate, the natal midheaven. This could be misinformation, lies about Zelensky, other people in power in Ukraine or Ukraine in general. It could also, in its worst case scenario, be assassination. But as usual, I hope we have moved beyond that. Now we got transing Uranus square natal Mercury, square natal Jupiter, and sesquiquadrate natal Uranus. Okay, this is all going to cause some sudden changes in plans for Uranus. Exactly what will happen, I don't know. Eighth house appears to be involved, so it's probably going to involve the ongoing war, since eighth house is death and transformation. But whatever it is, all I can say is expect the unexpected this month for Ukraine. But we also have some good things going on. Transing Chiron sextile, natal moon, that is going to help to bring some healing and resources to the country. Transiting Saturn, sextile natal Neptune, that will also help the country and bring them some infrastructure hardware that they need. Transing Jupiter, trine the natal moon, that is going to bring some good luck to the people and good luck financially. Transiting Saturn, trine midheaven, that's going to help stabilize leadership and help them endure. And transiting Uranus, trine Mars, that will help them in the war effort for sure. Definitely so. Now, if we look to see when things are exact, well, Neptune sesquiquadrate the midheaven, that's exact on the 6th. But the square from Uranus to Mercury and Jupiter, that's happening on the 28th and 29th, again, during that final 10-day period of October when we have seen so many other countries and people are going to be impacted by some kind of tension. So keep an eye out for those last 10 days of October. Saturn trine midheaven, that is exact on the 24th, and it's going to be strong in October and in November. Uranus trine Mars, that kicks in toward the end of October, but it becomes strong in November. It's exact on the 20th, as is, interestingly, Uranus sesquiquadrate natal Uranus. Okay, now let's move on to King Charles. In a nutshell, he continues to have ongoing health problems, though he does get some healing, and he has to be very careful not to overdo things. He's got Pluto still square his natal moon, and uh, at the moment, Pluto is moving retrograde, but around mid-October, October 11th or 12th, they'll turn direct, and he'll be heading toward another exact square with Pluto. So these health problems, the cancer, which is transforming his health, that is going to continue to be a problem for a while. He has a variety of hard aspects involving Jupiter. Jupiter sesquiquadrate natal Mercury, Jupiter opposite natal Mars, Jupiter semi-square his ascendant, and Jupiter semi-square the north node, which means it's sesquiquadrate the south node. All of this suggests to me that he is very much in danger of overdoing it. He wants to get back in the saddle. He wants to function as a royal and carry out his duties. But I think he really needs to listen to those people and those voices which tell him don't try and do too much right now. Now, Jupiter opposite Mars, that could impact him physically in particular. And he also has transiting Chiron, making a sesquiquadrate to his natal Saturn. And that could manifest as additional wounding to him. So he is still sick. He is still ill based upon this, and he has to be very careful not to overdo it. And he may have some setbacks this month as a result of the aspects from Chiron and the opposition of Jupiter to his natal Mars. Now, the good side, transiting Chiron is making a trine to his natal Mars, and transiting Neptune is making a trine to natal Chiron. These two aspects will help him heal. So he's got a lot of these tensions, a lot of these stresses. He has a lot of things which could cause him a setback in his health, but he has some lifelines also. So this will help ameliorate the bad stuff. And hopefully he'll one day be strong and healthy again. Now, Chiron trine Mars, that is going to be exact on the 20th. Neptune trine Chiron, that's exact on the 1st, it looks like, strong throughout the entire lunar month. Jupiter in opposition to natal Mars, that's exact on the 24th, again within that last 10-day period. And then he has these other stresses in early November, which are in the next lunar month. Now, for Kate Middleton, Princess Kate, she may experience some after effects of her chemotherapy, her cancer treatment. She may have a few setbacks, but I think her foundation and healing are going to be strong. Uh, some of the bad aspects here are waning. They're on the way out. We have Transing Chiron opposite Saturn, Transing Chiron square the north node, which means it's also squaring the south node. Transing Jupiter sesquiquadrant, Mercury, Venus, and natal Jupiter. So we got those here and here. She also has to be careful not to overdo things. Transiting Uranus, sesquiquadrant natal Mars, the danger of accidents or sudden changes to her body. But then she also has transiting Jupiter, trine her natal Saturn, transing Chiron, trine her natal ascendant, and transing Jupiter, uh, sextile her natal ascendant. In fact, we could see, it looks like natally we have sextile, and then from natal to transit, we have a sextile. From transit to transit, we have another sextile going on. So she has some energies of healing and growth that are really going to help her. If we look over here, let's see the Chiron opposition to Saturn and squaring the nodes, that is fading. The square to the nodes is fading rapidly. Square opposition to Chiron, that is fading a little less slowly. The sesquiquadrant to Mercury is exact on the 1st and the 16th. That's pretty strong throughout October. That can be that tendency to overreach, particularly in speech, since that's what Mercury rules. But she might say the wrong thing, she might exaggerate something, she might try and take on too many responsibilities. Let me go back here just a second. Yeah, Mercury is in the 6th house, which has to do with health and with occupation, work. So she could try and do too much royal work, which could impact her health. That's the Jupiter sesquiquadrant Mercury. So keep an eye on her throughout October. As we get into the latter part of the month and into the next lunar month, the healing from Chiron and Jupiter, that is really going to kick in. So she might have a few setbacks earlier this month. She might try and overdo it. Fortunately, Jupiter trine Saturn is in good strength through 3/4 of October. But by the end of the month, the real healing may start to kick in. Now, if we look at the United Kingdom, not a whole lot going on. We've got transiting Neptune making a semi-square to natal Mars. Again, worst case scenario, but one I think very unlikely would be assassination of someone, or maybe even a suspicious death of someone. Transing Uranus is sesquiquadrant the Sun. That can indicate some sort of unexpected thing happening. Let's see, Uranus is in the 4th house, so something unexpected impacting the homeland in United Kingdom. Okay. But if we look at this graph to see when things kick in, when they take effect, pretty much all of October is a nothing burger. Nothing going on good or bad. So most of October is just going to be staying the course. We get into the semi-square between transiting Neptune and natal Mars. About certainly the last week of October, we get into Uranus sesquiquadrate the Sun. That starts to kick into effect in the last week of October, becomes exact on November 18th. So, got to keep an eye out, just see what happens. Unfortunately, with regard to Putin, the royal family, and also the Pope that we'll look at next, uh, none of those entities like to be forthcoming with information about how they're doing unless they simply have to. Lastly, we'll take a quick look at Pope Francis. He's had stresses throughout all summer long. He continues to have stresses in October, but a few lifelines which will help bring some healing. Uh, he's old, he's frail. I don't expect him to last much longer. There's really a good chance that he'll have to step down or that he might even pass away before the end of this year. We see this from transiting Pluto square natal midheaven, transformation of status, transiting Neptune semi-square, natal moon. This could represent some sort of infection or illness, uh, as well as maybe others working against him in the shadows. Transiting Uranus, sesquiquadrate, natal Mercury, uh, sudden problems in communicating with others, some sort of sudden change. Transiting Saturn, making a semi-square to his midheaven, again, restrictions upon his power and authority. Transiting Jupiter, making a semi-square to natal Uranus, that's in his 10th house. So again, some sort of overreach or exaggeration that may affect his status. Transiting Saturn, sesquiquadrate, natal Pluto, that puts limitations again upon his personal power. And since Pluto's in his first house, this could be limitations upon his health also. And what else do we have? Transiting Uranus, semi-square the ascendant, some sudden changes in his life. Transiting Chiron, opposite Mars. This looks somewhat ominous. This could be wounding to him physically, either through illness or through attack or through an accident, falling of some sort. And I don't think this is going to become exact. I think Chiron will turn direct before it does, but this is certainly a danger period for him. On the good side, he has transiting Neptune. Let's see, trine Pluto. So here's Neptune here, here's Pluto here. Pluto's in his first house. So that is going to help him physically and spiritually. Transiting Chiron, sextile natal Chiron, that will help bring healing to him. And transiting Jupiter conjunct natal Chiron, that's also going to help bring him healing. Now, my graphs always show conjunctions as red aspects, the hard aspects, but in this case, Jupiter conjunct Chiron, that will probably be a soft aspect. That will probably be beneficial to him. So he has a lot of stresses, but he has some uh, lifelines, some good aspects here, which are really going to help bring him healing. So maybe he will get to stay on as Pope. Maybe he will retire and be healed and not just simply die suddenly in office. Okay, and here you can see when each of these aspects will be exact. Uranus sesquiquadrate Mercury, that's exact on the 4th. Neptune semi-square the moon. Yeah, we have that one in there. And Jupiter semi-square Uranus, those are exact on the 29th and 24th of October, respectively. Again, this is in that 10-day period of last 10 days of October. But it looks like a lot of stuff might happen to countries and people. Saturn sesquiquadrate Pluto, that is exact on the 19th, right before that final 10 days. But close enough, as we say. Uh, Chiron sextile natal Chiron, that is exact on November 5th, the day of the presidential election. So second half of October, some healing might start to kick in. The Jupiter conjunct Chiron, see it's shown here as red, but in this case it's really a blue aspect, a beneficial aspect. So these two will be working together at the same time to help bring some healing to Pope Francis, and that will be exact on November 3rd. So again, he has a lot of stresses going on in his life. I'll be surprised if he makes it through the end of the year as Pope. He's also got some powerful healing things that are going to kick in the latter part of October and early part of November that could really save him. So, as I say, we'll have to just wait and see. Astrology does not predict the future, it just gives a weather report. And as I say, it's only half of the equation. The other half of the equation consists of the decisions that individuals make in response to that weather. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. And I'm back here. So that's going to be it for how this upcoming lunar month from October 2nd through November 1st will impact countries and people. In part two, we went over Putin, Russia, the United Kingdom, King Charles, Princess Kate, and also we covered Pope Francis. In part one, we went over America, Biden, Harris, Trump, China, Israel, Netanyahu, Hamas, and Iran. So I hope you've enjoyed all of this, and I hope you enjoy me for future videos. But for now, I'll just say so long and be well.